Sheriff, have your men gather our 3 witnesses and meet us in the kitchen. I'd like to have a word with them before I leave. Thank you all for your cooperation. It would appear that Mr. Henley has died as a result of his inability to properly chew his food. Or so it appeared. Mr. Henley was in fact murdered, and the murderer is in this very room. Every one of you revealed vital clues to the case, whether you knew it or not. To begin, Mrs. Ramona was shaken up more than a martini by Mr. Henley's death. So shaken that she appeared to be unable to identify her own brother's homemade glass that was placed next to Mr. Henley's dead body. Mrs. Ramona was the only one in the house with Mr. Henley when he died. This gave her the opportunity to get revenge on him after he had denied to lend her money.
I didn't kill Mr. Henley.
And I don't believe you did. The killer in this case was very clever. Here on the kitchen counter is a lipstick container, pointing to you, Miss Henley. Remember the small holes in the grass? The holes that led up to the kitchen window? Well, those are made by the heel of a high-heeled shoe. The evidence points to you, Miss Henley.
I did not kill my uncle.
Miss Henley, I believe you. Look out this window. Do you see the disturbance in the bushes and the mud on the windowsill? The killer did a good job trying to cover their tracks, but there's one fatal flaw. The kitchen window is approximately 7.5 feet above the ground. Miss Henley would not be able to reach that high without the help of the stepladder or something else to stand on. Plus, Mrs. Ramona was already inside with Mr. Henley and would not have needed to use the window at all. Sheriff, arrest Mr. Parson. He is our killer and went to a lot of trouble to cover up the murder.
I didn't do it. You're basing all this on the fact that I'm tall.
Mr. Parson, you almost had me fooled. You knew that Mrs. Ramona would be clean and be the only person in the house. The radio she plays gave you the perfect cover to enter the house without being noticed. Then you planted Miss Henley's red lipstick container on the counter, as well as the glass on the kitchen table. You even used the heel of her high-heeled shoe to poke small holes in the grass leading directly to the window. All signs that would point me away from you. However, your fatal error was that you're the only person here that is tall enough to reach the kitchen window from the outside, and that the mud we found on the windowsill contains the same grass fertilizer that you use every day and keep locked in the shed where no one else can get to. The fertilizer is also smeared on the glass that you left by Mr. Henley. You went as far to shove food down his throat to make it appear to be a simple choking, but I was not fooled. I suspect that if we look in your shed, we will find both Miss Henley's missing silver shoe and the fertilizer that's going to put you away. The only thing I'm curious about is why you did it. You don't seem to have any issues with Mr. Henley.
Mr. Henley and I started this salt mine business 20 years ago. We had an equal partnership. Just as our business was taking off, that damn fool framed me for embezzling money. I spent the next 10 years plotting my revenge behind prison bars for a crime I didn't commit. Now, once I was released, I was hired on by the former groundskeeper. I knew I'd be able to go unrecognized because Henley cared about no one but himself. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. I waited for my opportunity. Once Ms. Henley moved in, I knew she'd make the perfect patsy.
Mr. Parson, you are officially under arrest for the murder of Mr. James Henley. Take this man away. He's not worth his salt.
Hey, not so rough. Come on, you guys don't have to cuff me. I'm going on my own. You ought to know I'm not sorry for what I did.
Bravo, Detective. How were you able to figure it out with such little evidence?
I wouldn't be much of a detective if I couldn't solve a simple murder, now would I, Sheriff? Yet another case in the books. We're not out of the woods yet. Tune in this time next week when I take on the Cronin Casino matter. Big wins, bigger losses, when the chips fall. I am Detective Woods, signing out.